Hello, welcome to Metal Gear Armory today. I've brought in a former student of mine to kind of showcase a little bit about what Metal Gear Armory does as far as training and what possibly we could do for you. So Art, I'm glad you're here today. Could you tell us just a little bit about yourself and how we came to meet?
Sure. Hi, my name is Art. From an early age of 17, when I moved to Columbus from Maine, I was a big believer in self-protection and protection of my family. For many years I studied martial arts with various instructors who taught me a variety of different modalities in self-defense. One of those teachings was training in a black room. I thought it was really stupid and redundant, but little did I know that training would come in quite handy later on. As I went through my life, I went to college and studied business as well as law enforcement. I got into law enforcement and worked with the Sheriff's Department in their alarm division at the time.
What is that? What's the alarm division?
Well, at the time they had a special division that we basically went out on alarm systems with big businesses. And,
like actual going off alarms,
right.
Like you're answering to in-progress stuff that the
Exactly.
bells are ringing, somebody's there doing something they shouldn't.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So we would go out on those and, of course, be there and take care of the situation. We also had the keys and went in with our 870s and did what we needed to do, clear
Room
the building.
clearing and such. Okay.
Right, exactly. And in doing so, I really enjoyed the work. But unfortunately, as time went by, my vision started to fail me. I started seeing rainbows around lights, things of that nature. Come to find out I had glaucoma. It was a fast-acting glaucoma, and unfortunately, it did rob me of my sight.
So you're completely blind now? Partial? You see shadows sometimes?
I see some shadows. Some days I see more clearly, some days I don't. It varies, believe it or not, from day to day.
Okay.
But for the most part, I don't depend on it because when it comes down to really protecting oneself, you know, you just can't depend on one little thing and hoping that it's going to be there the next. You have to be properly trained in every sense of the word.
Yes.
So nonetheless, as I realized that I did have an issue and I needed to get some more training for myself to be responsible for my family and taking care of the bills and, you know, living a normal life.
It's admirable.
Exactly. So I took my college degree, went to business, and through to the times, I opened up a massage therapy business, and from there went forward. I'd say about 10 years ago, I met my sweet wife, and we decided to get married at the time. Well, she was a person who was trained never to like guns.
Really?
Guns were really forbidden in her family. They really frowned on them. Still do, matter of fact.
Wow.
But nonetheless, when she came into my household, I laid my .45 on the kitchen table. I said, there it is. I said, you need to learn how to break it down and put it back together again and use it if you have to. So at the time went by, and she's totally agreed because she felt like if there's a gun in the house, she did not want to have anybody use it against her. So
that's smart.
Very smart. And so I was telling my coworker, and he happened to mention, well, you know, it's a CCW class going on by this guy named Lewis Merrick. And I said, really? So he gave me the information. I called Lewis up, and we made an appointment to come down to Lewis's office. And so I was telling him about my wife. She needs to take the CCW class. And of course, Lewis said, well, what about you, Art? And I said, well, what about me? He says, well, you know, you may be visually impaired, but you're still entitled to protect yourself. And, you know, we have the means to help you do that. You know, we can train you properly.
I actually, not to cut you off, but I actually, how I wound up doing that was my N.R.A. coach, which helped me get my instructorship. I remember during the class he had told me about a paraplegic that could only operate a few fingers on one hand that he had trained to get his CCW, because that individual as well has the right to self-protection. In a situation such as that, you would want a great equalizer. And he had also elaborated that he had trained a blind student at once too. So I contacted him to try to see what I could do for Art, because I didn't want him out there in limbo. And he told me to put bells up, because Art, your smell and your taste and your hearing and your feel is way more superior than what I have now, because you spent years building up those senses. And so that's what we worked with, was the sound and vibrations and smells, because that's how he navigates his real world, and that's the way we have to put the scenario through to anybody, including yourself. It's real world scenario training. So I was grateful for the opportunity to take on such a case and get that training out. And I can tell you, the guy shoots awesome groups. I mean, he on multiple targets too. It's not just stick him in front of it and it's right in front of him. He can hit multiple targets, center mass, very well.
Well, thanks to you, Lewis. When Lewis is trains, he doesn't just put you in front of a lane and have you just hit a target straight on. You're moving in a real world situation. You're standing up, you're down on the ground, you're on your side. This is as though someone attacked you. You have to be prepared in all situations. Absolutely. And still yourself accordingly.
Yeah. And how many people get that kind of training out in our society? So I would appreciate you coming in today, Art. I thank your testimony. Let me shake your hand
and thank
again.
You, Lewis.
I'd like to thank you for your service as a law enforcement officer, and the fact that you're taking the trainings and getting the education for yourself and to protect your family today.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate that, and stay strong and keep doing what you're doing, sir. Thank you. You're a service to our country.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll put up more videos just as soon as we can. See you later.